founded Start Stop Outpatient Evening Program, which is the program designed for functioning binge-pattern addicts and alcoholics who are probably living at home and have got jobs. And it's a 14-week program. It's an ideal way of getting well and getting recovery while living at home, going to work.
So it does lend itself well to people who have to continue working or who have family lives in which they need to be engaged. But I think we get people from all quarters. Quite a lot of primary residents, so primary treatment residents, will come onto the IOP to follow up from whatever program they've had. The IOP is really good at helping people discern the why behind their addictive behaviour, because I think in primary treatment, you're coming into this space where, prior to that, life was probably pretty unmanageable. There's a lot going on, there's a lot of consequences, there's a lot of fallout, both with work, with family, with friends. And you sort of get to the end of that 30 days, say, if you've been in primary treatment, and you might have had a detox, but essentially it's a stabilizing period. Where symptomatically we're just sort of calming things down. But actually I think where the IOP then steps in beautifully is it starts to question the why. Well, why did you drink like that? Or why did you take drugs like that? Or why did you feel the need to act out like that? There is a lot of work for clients to do in terms of their own input, life stories, written exercises, a lot of group work, one-to-one work. So look, it's quite involved. But in our experience, the more people put in, the more they get out. And look, some of the recovery stories, and I include mine in that, having come through the IOP and the evening program as a client, a testament to the fact that it really does work if you put in the time. But it does inevitably require a degree of motivation. I wouldn't say it's a program that's designed for those who are particularly ambivalent around getting well or who feel particularly resistant. There needs to be a motivation to get well, motivation for change. But it's very interesting to see how that motivation changes over the course of the program. So, when people sort of stumble through the door, the chances are that there are other motivating factors at play. That might be the threat of a marriage ending, that could be an employment issue, that could be friends disappearing, that could be, money draining from a bank account. So there's normally a sort of a hand in the back that gets someone to the door. But I think in terms of people, once they're here and if they engage well, that motivation shifts. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. The motivation actually shifts towards doing it for themselves rather than doing it for others, and understanding that they're worth looking after. In terms of transformations of people coming through the program, I mean, just in my personal experience, some of them have been huge. People have arrived here with marriages gone, with no work, no friendships, booted out of home, and 14 weeks later, 100 days later, we've got marriages that are back on track, people thriving at work, people looking after themselves, people with whole new friendship groups, as well as rekindling old friendships. It is a life-saving program, and it's a life-saving exercise. But it's more than just sort of, the physical life. It's actually bringing a life back together.